On day 3 of the Democratic National Convention, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz formally accepted the party's vice presidential nomination. The 60-year-old running mate of Kamala Harris vowed that he and Harris would triumph over Republican Donald Trump in the November U.S. election. Several big names, including Bill Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Oprah Winfrey, also took the stage in Chicago. Here's more.
Day 3 of the Democratic Convention kicked off with a first-of-its-kind Vedic prayer, where the priest sought blessings for a united country.
Om samani va'aku otis samana hridaya nivaha.
The Minnesota governor, who was little known in America till 15 days ago, acknowledged he had never given such a big speech, but said that as a former high school football coach, he gave a lot of pep talks. But before Walz spoke, players from the team he helped coach to a state championship decades ago ran on stage, some wearing jerseys from their old high school.
Kamala Harris is experienced and Kamala Harris is ready. Our job for everyone watching is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling. 1 inch at a time, 1 yard at a time, 1 phone call at a time, 1 door knock at a time, 1 $5 donation at a time. Look, we got 76 days. That's nothing. There'll be time to sleep when you're dead. We're going to leave it on the field. That's how we'll keep moving forward. That's how we'll turn the page on Donald Trump. When we fight, thank you.
Walz opted not to address criticisms of his long personal history with China. Instead, the Minnesota governor spent his concise 20-minute speech pushing the party's slogan of freedom and support for the middle class. He lashed out at Trump, calling him weird and dangerous. Earlier, former President Bill Clinton also took multiple digs at Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. Clinton also joked that Harris could break his McDonald's record at the White House.
I'll be so happy when she actually enters the White House as president, because she will break my record as the president who spent the most time at McDonald's.
In a no-holds-barred speech, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made a reference to the Capitol Hill riots case and accused Trump of trying to steal democracy on January 6, 2021.
We must choose leaders who believe in free and fair elections, who respect the peaceful transfer of power. The choice couldn't be clearer. Those leaders are Vice President Harris and Governor Walz.
But perhaps the most rousing speech was from a surprise guest, Oprah Winfrey. The Chicago-based talk show host urged independent voters to support Kamala Harris. Without mincing her words, she took a jab at Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance's childless cat lady remark.
When a house is on fire, we don't ask about the homeowner's race or religion. We don't wonder who their partner is or how they voted. No, we just try to do the best we can to save them. And if the place happens to belong to a childless cat lady, well, we try to get that cat out too.
Outside the convention, hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters, including parents with children atop their shoulders, streamed into the Union Park on the third day of the DNC. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Okay, for more on this, we are being joined by John Ports, professor of political science at Northeastern University from Boston, Massachusetts. Professor, thank you so much for joining us on WION. How do you think Tim Walz's leadership style and policy priorities will influence the DNC's approach on issues that are most important to voters, like the economy, immigration reform, and social justice issues as well? Do you think that this folksy style that the DNC is presenting of him might be too simplistic at this point?
I think a good part of the focus in a convention like this is on character as much as it is on policy. And so I think, to your point, he has become more progressive on policies as governor, which probably aligns him perhaps more closely with kind of the broader Democratic Party. But I think a major part of what they've tried to do with the football players from his former team and all the rest is really highlight his character as someone who grew up in middle America and had kind of had those experiences as a public school teacher and a football coach. And so he's like everybody else. He's like your typical American. I think that was their major message. A little less on policy at this point.
And in your opinion, what are Kamala Harris's biggest vulnerabilities in the 2024 presidential election moving forward? As you mentioned, we didn't hear much about policy, but come Thursday or Friday, the Harris campaign will have to sort of outline what it stands for. And it's a slippery slope trying to differentiate with President Joe Biden on the one hand, but also, presenting herself as someone that was part of the Biden administration at the end of the day on the other. What will you be looking for?
Yeah, I think people are asking, what are more details on the policy side? And a week or so ago, she did release a kind of economic policy ideas, and there was child tax credits and a variety of other things, housing, affordable housing initiatives. So I think people are going to be looking for more of that. And I think you're right. It's difficult to distance herself too much from Biden. As a member of the administration, it's very hard. She can't really do that, but she can do on the margins and in certain areas. I think she will try to do that, and I think it's a hard one to do. But I think she has to be forceful, and I think she'll probably start doing that tonight in her speech. Forceful and kind of what are her priorities? How does she see the direction moving forward for the U.S. in various policy areas?
Okay, well, it'll be very interesting to watch. Professor, thank you so much for joining us on WION. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
My pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.